everybody, it's the Vision Impaired Gamer here, and welcome back to Swordy Quest! Today is a very exciting day because I'm finally going to start reading the story scrolls. And I know what you're thinking to yourself, wait, Vision Impaired Gamer, you've already read the Fonetazian story scrolls, what are you playing at? Well, I did, but they changed them. Literally 2 weeks after I uploaded the video. Never mind. I'm going to read them again, because it's a new story now, and there's Beyond Story Scrolls and Infinite Story Scrolls too. So I'll be reading the Beyond Story Scrolls in the next episode, and I'll be reading the Infinite ones at a later date, because I haven't gotten them all yet. And there might be one from the Shadow King when we eventually defeat that. I don't yet know, but if there is, I kind of want to wait for that. And that will probably reveal the final piece of the puzzle that I'll need to piece this whole thing together. Right, so, with that out of the way, let's get going with the Fonetazian prologue, which is basically a rewrite of the thing that I read at the very start of the first episode with the whole echoey spirit guidey thing that I did. Anyway, let's go. You woke in the realm of Fonetazian. Your name is a blur, your past a torn page. In your bag, you find this scroll, advising: sail the high seas, roam grasslands, climb snowy peaks, and cross barren deserts, ever wary of the dreaded dragon roaming these lands. Learn to fish, learn to fight, above all, learn to survive. First, eat, a full stomach steady as the hand, then scour the wilds for resources to craft, unlock, and improve your gear. You will need to hunt and roam this open world to progress. At the nearby farm, claim a donkey to hasten your travels. When ready, trade in village markets. Buy low, sell high. Coin is power. Spend it on equipment and upgrades before you challenge the many bosses that haunt the roads and rule the ruins. Your destiny is to uncover every secret of Swordy Quest. Only when the final secret is revealed will your memory return and the reason you were summoned here. Along the way, you'll find scrolls like this one. Read them at any time from your inventory to piece together the lore of Swordy Quest. They arrange themselves in chronological order, so the mystery unfolds as your tale advances. Well, there's a new prologue, everyone. How'd you like my deep spirit guide voice? Even though in the actual game, the spirit guide always goes like, hello, greetings, salutations, that sort of thing. But oh well, I can do my own voice if I want to. Speaking of my own voices, I'm going to be probably doing another voice for this one, Diary, January. The 4th of January. The snow stacks itself against the panes and makes lace of the corners. We've been inside for days, yet somehow the halls feel larger when the little ones laugh. Tim cheats at sweeping. He turns each stroke into a flourish and then bows to his own dust. Lena doesn't finish her letters. She draws hearts in the margins and looks at me to see if I will pretend not to notice. I pretend, and then we practice again. Peter insists on carrying both water buckets as if the roof depends on his shoulders. I warned him that pride is heavier than water. He said pride is easier to set down if you must. I am not sure it is. I patched Alara's mitten with the brightest thread we had. When she protested it looked ridiculous, I told her it made her hands easier to see in the dark. She rolled her eyes and we both laughed. We have so little and still find ways to give each other something extra. The fire is small, but the circle around it is large enough to hold us all, and that is what matters. I pray that will always be enough. Well, that's kind of sweet, actually. I don't know who this is. I guess we'll find out later, but I mean, I recognize the name Tim from Min's diary entry, so I'm not sure if this is Min and this is just some extra lore based on his time at the orphanage, or if it's even the same story at all. I've heard tell that there's no mention of the twin swords or anything, so there goes my theory, I guess. But then again, it was just a theory. A Swordy Quest theory. And on to the next scroll, which is Letter Winter, 2nd of February. Dear Mara, the snow has buried the yard so deeply that the younger ones have taken to digging tunnels between the drifts and calling them roads. Tim declares himself mayor of the largest one and charges a penal tax for passage. I do not discourage him, it keeps the others busy, and laughter in winter is its own kind of food. We felt the ground shake again last week. The townsfolk say it's just frost breaking the earth, but in the cellar, the crack widens all the same. There's light in it, sometimes faint like the edge of dawn when you close your eyes. I try not to look too long, though I fear Jimmy already does. Peter hovers near the door as if he were a guard posted by choice rather than necessity. He mutters about drafts, but his hand always goes to the latch as though he expects something to climb through. I pin my hair now when I'm with the children. It makes them listen, though I do not raise my voice. Strange how order comes easier when one looks the part of authority. I wonder if that is what the crack is doing to us too. Changing how we stand, how we think, how we carry the silence. If spring finds you free, come visit us. Bring honey if you can spare it. Not for the sweetness alone, but for the reminder that there are still things that come from flowers, not from stone. Yours always, Alara. So, there's a crack in the cellar, with light coming out of it. Now that's strange. I was going to say, if there was just a normal crack in the cellar, maybe the floor needs to be fixed, but there's light coming out of it, so that's probably a bit more than a broken floor. Anyway, let's move on to the next scroll. Diary February, the 21st of February. The tremors began last night. At first it was only a shiver in the crockery, then a long sigh through the rafters. The little ones cried, but Alara calmed them down with her usual gentleness, telling them the earth was simply stretching after too long a frost. Jimmy claimed the sound was ghosts rattling chains, which earned him a cuff from Peter. Tim laughed through it all, saying fear only has power if you give it a name. He is braver than he should be for his age. I fear that one day he will not measure the cost of his bravery until it is too late. The cellar feels colder than it should be, though no door stands open. Peter swears he hears humming down there, faint but steady, like bees caught behind the wall. I will not go see for myself. I have enough trouble keeping ink unfrozen to waste time chasing ghosts. So the cellar's feeling colder, and there's humming behind the wall, probably still the crack, and there's tremors going on. Maybe there's actual earthquakes as well. Maybe it's just the earth stretching from the frost, or maybe it's something else. This is now Torn Fragment number 1. You awakened in Fonetazian with no memory of who you are or how you came to be here. In your pocket is a torn fragment that hints at a strange crack that has appeared beneath an orphanage cellar. It is the first sign that ordinary days might be ending. Here are the full details of the fragment. Torn Fragment 1, found in your pocket. In those days, the ground beneath the northern orphanage shuddered and cracked. Witnesses spoke of light emerging from stone, a glow neither flame or star, as though the world itself had been torn to reveal a second sky beneath. Children gathered at the break, their small hands reaching toward what should never have been theirs. Over the months that followed, a total of 3 treasures spilled from the fissure. A necklace bright as frost, a ring that drank lantern light, and an amulet that hummed like a heartbeat. It is said those who touched them did not let go. Whether the gifts were curse or destiny, no one agreed, but all accounts hold this. The moment the relics left the dark, so too did innocence. Well, yeah, that's interesting. So, the torn fragment is basically summarizing sort of what was in those first few letters and diary entries. Talking about the crack in the orphanage and everything like that, and the ground shaking, all of that. But this is new, the 3 bits of jewelry that have been found. And they are apparently cursed and whatnot as well. A bit like the twin swords were in the old story, but this time they're 3 bits of jewellery. A necklace, a ring, and an amulet. So, that's interesting. Let's see if we find out more about them. Diary, March. The 15th of March. Today the ground moved again. Stronger than before. Dust poured down from the rafters, and the children screamed until Alara gathered them close. When it ended, we found a crack running jagged along the cellar floor. Peter braced it with shelves, but I saw the way his hands shook when he touched the stone. Jimmy is fascinated by it, of course. He says it breathes. I told him not to be foolish, but I half believed him. The air near the crack is sharp, like metal left too long in the snow. When we brought the lantern close, the flame bent towards the ceiling. I swear I saw light under the floor. Faint, but steady. Alara told us not to speak of it outside the house. She feared what the townsfolk might say. Yet she too stared at the glow far longer than she admits. The crack is getting worse! And so are the tremors. What's causing all these tremors? Earthquake? Frost? Something else? The light beneath it is interesting. Gazette, Winter Edition. Editor is Ace Led. Or a sled? Ace Lead? Nah, I prefer a sled. Anyway, let's read it. Unusual tremors. Nothing to fear. Yep, I'm doing my stupid journalist voice again. A series of minor shakes visited our northern lanes this week, setting crockery singing and giving cats an excuse to blame gravity for their choices. According to our ever-reliable surveyors, Old Stone likes to stretch its back when the cold breaks. While the sensation can be unnerving, there is no cause for alarm. The North Rise Children's Home reported a crack in the cellar floor, central section. Town Labour will mend it after the thaw. Until then, the cellar door has been secured. We remind our readers, basements are cousins to rivers. Quiet for years, then suddenly remembering they once preferred to move. Best to keep your flour on a higher shelf for a fortnight. Practical tips for a shivery week. Hang blankets across doorways. A second door made of wool keeps rooms warmer than a third log. Stir porridge longer than you think is necessary. Eat is stubborn, but it learns. Tell the little ones stories in which the heroes nap. Sleep is a kind of bravery in winter. And finally, a word about rumours. We've heard whispers of humming walls and lights where there are no lamps. Friends, winter plays tricks. A draft becomes a ghost if you name it that way. Let us be generous with our explanations until we need to be stern. We are practical people. The snow will tire of itself, the ground will loosen its jaw, the streets will turn to honest mud. Until then, keep company, keep the kettle near, and keep your feet under you. So apparently now everyone's heard of the crack in the cellar floor in the orphanage with the humming walls and the light and whatnot. So much for keeping it secret, right? Anyway, let's move on to Incident Report, Quarter 1, Town Hall. Incident Report, Quarter 1. Clark is Hugh Maslow. Summary. Northern Orphanage cellar floor inspected after reports of shaking and structural stress. Fissure observed in center of cellar floor. Witnesses describe faint light and humming. Observations. Crack length, approximately 4 spans. Temperature drop near fissure. Several objects reported but currently missing. Chain, ring, small amulets. Children present at time of discovery, warned against re-entry. Action taken. Local masons advise monitoring. Items retrieval set as the highest priority. Matron instructed to bar cellar access until thaw. Risk level moderate. Will be examined next quarter. So that's just like our observation inspector report sort of thing. Nothing to worry about, same thing we've already heard before, we're just filling it in a bit more, that's all. Okay, Diary April. April 7th. The thaw came, but the house feels no lighter.
The crack in the cellar glows sometimes, just enough to make the lanterns feel uneasy.
Peter bars the door at night, though I hear him checking it when he thinks no one is listening. He pretends it's only for the drafts. He does not fool me. Alara found something there, a necklace, silver link with a pale stone. She says it makes her feel steady. Perhaps it does. The children obey her more quickly now, and even the little ones fall quiet when she enters the room. It is a strange quiet, not the comfortable sort we once knew. She brushes it off, but I see the way she holds the stone as if it listens back. Jimmy is restless. He stares at the stellar door as if it owes him a secret. I tell him to leave it be, but he laughs and says treasure does not wait for the patient. Tim encourages him, the fool. If anyone can turn danger into a game, it is those two. I mend, I sweep, I try to keep the peace, yet I cannot shake the thought that the necklace chose Alara, not the other way around. And if it can choose her, what else could it choose?
Swordy Quest. In the free page.
Concerning. I remember in Torn Fragment 1, they were talking about a necklace and some other things that when people had them, bad things started to happen. A little bit like the twin swords in the old story scrolls. Remember how those were like about mad corruption and whatnot? I feel like this is kind of similar, but I guess, yeah, these are just replacing the twin swords. So here we go, on to the next one, yes? We are now moving on to Diary May, the 19th of May. Peter has changed. He will not admit it, but I see in the way his jaw tightens, in the way he speaks before others have finished. He found a ring in the cellar, dark, heavy, though it looks plain to the eye. He wears it always. He says it helps him think clearly, helps him protect us. Perhaps it is true, but when he looks at us now, it feels less like watching over and more like measuring. Alara approves of his order. Together they set the chores and ration the bread with a precision that leaves little room for laughter. It is hard to complain, for nothing is wasted and no child goes hungry, yet the air feels weighed down by their rules. Even Tim bites his tongue more often, though I catch his eyes flashing mischief he dares not voice. Jimmy is furious. He says that Peter acts like the boss and Alara like a princess. He will not be their subject. I fear what he might do to prove the point. Already he lingers near the crack, daring it to notice him. Sometimes I think it already has. The necklace glitters, the ring tightens, and in their shadows I write, hoping these pages will remember us when we can no longer remember ourselves. Well, damn! Alright, so we found 2 out of the 3 bits of jewellery that we were talking about in the Torn Fragment. We've only got to find the amulet, and I think Jimmy's gonna find it, to be honest. Yeah, Peter's got the ring, and Alara's got the necklace. And I think Jimmy will have the amulet. And then maybe whoever's writing this will get something else too. Just a bonus item that we haven't found out about yet. But we'll see. We'll see. Letter Spring. The 25th of May. To Father Owen. I write because the house is restless and I cannot quiet it by hands alone. Alara wears a necklace all the time now. The children obey her without question, and though it keeps them safe, it chills me. Her silence has edges. She tells me I'm imagining it. I found a ring near the crack. It steadies me. With it I can see problems before they grow. The chores run smoother, the ration lines tighter. No one goes hungry. Yet Audrey looks at me as if I've built walls between us. Perhaps I have. I only wish to guard them, to keep the children safe from hunger and harm. If firmness is cruelty, then let me be cruel for their sake. Jimmy taunts me. He says I act a captain, Alara a queen. Better a captain than a fool. I fear what will become of him if no one raids him in. If you have counsel, write soon.
Songmill.
Peter Songmill. So yeah, Peter's the one with the ring, of course, which we found out in the April diary. No, the May diary, sorry. It was the May diary, what am I talking about? And that letter was from Peter. Now the name Songmill I kind of recognize from the previous Story Scrolls videos. Lord Leo was a lord of the Songmill Kingdom. He was a knight and he ended up being the Sand Lord. So there you go. There's that. I don't even know if you're really meant to draw parallels between the old scrolls and these new ones, but it's kind of fun to do them either way. Diary, June. 17th of June. Jimmy has grown reckless. He found a small amulet near the crack, a round thing on a cord, and now he will not part with it. He claims it makes him fearless, that the world itself has grown lighter in his hands. I see only the danger in his eyes. He runs across beams, climbs where the wood creaks, and laughs when Peter shouts. That laugh used to be warm, now it cuts. Alara and Peter look on with strange expressions. Alara watches him as if he is a piece she cannot fit into her order. Peter clenches his jaw until I fear he will break his teeth, and still Jimmy dares. Last night, he stood on the roof and declared the night belonged to him. We begged him down, but he only jumped and landed whole. The amulet hummed against his chest. I felt the vibration in my own ribs, though I stood far away. I think the relics test us. They show one face first, useful, gentle, helpful, then another harder face beneath. The necklace brought silence. The ring brought command. The amulet has brought defiance. How many faces are left?
To be continued.